EA Sports. It's in the game.
This is a special presentation of EA Sports from the Coliseum in Oakland, our tribute to the coach, the Jhon Madden Legacy Game. I'm Brandon Gaudin here to take you through the proceedings, and coming up, we're going to tell the story of a man who was truly larger than life and whose impact on the sport of football certainly is going to live on for decades and decades to come. Now, we've assembled a couple of rosters featuring some of Coach's favorite players from both yesterday and today, and Coach himself will be on the sidelines for both squads, trying to motivate his guys to victory. And I'm joined now by my good friend Charles Davis. CD, your thoughts on Jhon Madden and what he meant to the sport he loved so much?
For me, Brandon, it's the word joy. He brought that to the game of football, brought the game to so many people. He stayed involved his entire life. And moving forward, when you think of football, you're always going to think Jhon Madden.
One time for old times. What do you say we play some football as we are underway from Oakland in the Jhon Madden Legacy Game? And he's up across the 25 and down at the 28. So it's the NFC stars who will get the ball first. And Charles, as we alluded to, we've got a different era of coach on each sideline. So the man coaching this NFC squad, we'll call him young Jhon Madden. This is a coach who was trying to establish a foothold in the NFL and on the cusp of doing it very successfully.
Yeah, you think back to that period, those early days as the coach of the Raiders, the late 60s in the AFL and then in the NFL in the early 70s. Coach was a guy who was ahead of his time. The Raiders were one of the first teams to have mini camps, one of the first to film practice, because he wanted to practice coaching as much as he could. And his teams, they were successful right from the start of his head coaching tenure.
They start on the ground here at Sanders. He'll be hit down at the 33, 5 yards on the play. So as we mentioned at the top, let's take you through the life of Jhon Madden. And you know, it's very fitting that we're here back in the Bay Area, not just because John's so associated with Raider football, but also because this was where he spent his formative years.
Yeah, he grew up over in Daly City with his buddy John Robinson, who would also become an NFL head coach. And he played his high school ball at Jefferson High, eventually wound up playing tackle at the University of Oregon.
And looking for Kittle, but it's intercepted. Picked off by Stephon Gilmore. And to the 40-yard line, that's where the return stops. Not something you see very often from a quarterback of his caliber, an opening drive interception.
Oh, there's no doubt in my mind that even he's surprised at how that one played out. But we know this guy is not going to stop him from continuing to fire as this game goes along. Probably give a little nod of respect across the field for that one and let him know he'll be back the very next series.
So, Charles, as mentioned, we've got another Coach Madden over here on the AFC sideline. Of course, his Raiders, members of the AFC West. So this is a conference he battled in for his entire career. And you think about the landscape of the NFL as he was getting into the back half of his tenure. It was a golden era for coaches. You had Don Shula, Tom Landry, Chuck Noll, Bud Grant. But it was Jhon Madden who had the best winning percentage of them all, CD. 759, the best ever.
Brandon, it's hard to believe he could be so successful in a conference with all those great teams. The Steelers won 4 Super Bowls. The Dolphins won 2 and were a mainstay in the playoffs. The Colts were tough. The Broncos came on late and went to a Super Bowl themselves. But against Hall of Fame coaches, Jhon Madden's record, 36, 16, and 2. That's pretty incredible. His Raiders were a factor each and every year.
On the draw, here's Allen. And he'll be taken down at the 34. Give him 3 yards there as that'll take us to 4th down.
Well, this was just simply excellent defense. On this 3rd down, they had to be alert for the possibility of a pass, but that didn't stop them at all from understanding what was going on when they decided to run the football, and they just swarmed and stopped them for almost no gain.
And Vinatieri's kick is good. And the AFC on the board first. It's 3-0. Well, it's not the touchdown that they wanted, CD, but still, they got to be pretty happy here. You steal the ball away from them on their opening possession, and you turn that into the early 3-0 lead.
Yeah, you painted the picture perfectly there, all the things that have gone on. And the important thing, other than the lead, of course, is as you described, both sides of the ball now have some momentum.
The NFC offense coming out here, and you know, Charles, Coach Madden always said that if he had one drive to win a game and he had to pick a quarterback, he would pick Kenny Stabler. But I think if you asked him to omit any of his Raiders players, there's a good chance the guy he'd select would be Brett Favre.
Brett Favre is always smiling. He's always laughing. He's always talking to someone. He remembers that it's a game, and if it's a game, you should have fun.
And Brandon, that always reminds me of a great movie line where one of the players was telling the coach, every time I say it's a game, you say it's a business. And every time I say it's a business, you say it's a game. With Coach, it was always a game.
A false start backs him up 5, 1st and 15. From the shotgun, it's Favre. He'll get this complete to Cooper Kupp. They get 14 yards, but not enough for the first down due to the previous penalty. To throw is Favre. And on the catch right side, this is Sanders. Oh, what a move. And he'll be taken down, but not before he gets into enemy territory. But Charles, you mentioned Coach was a 21st-round draft pick back in 1958. It was the Philadelphia Eagles who selected him. But unfortunately for John, knee problems, they just continued to dog him. He was hurt in his first training camp, actually never saw the field as a player in the NFL. But it was still during his time with the Eagles, you and I were talking about this before going on air, that you could start to see the light bulb going on for what his career path might entail.
And it went on in a big way, didn't it? Because while he was rehabbing his knee, he started to spend a lot of time breaking down film with the Eagles, with quarterback Norm Van Brocklin, the future Hall of Famer and future head coach in the NFL. Remember, Van Brocklin coached with the Falcons, he coached with the Vikings. And was there during that time. I think Coach Madden realized his love of football and love for teaching, combining all that together, and that meant being a football coach. So in 1960, began his coaching career at a small college south of San Luis Obispo called Allen Hancock, and then later at San Diego State University under another legendary coach, the guy who could throw it around pretty well, Don Coryell.
It's a 3-yard pickup, and that sets up a 1st and goal. Sanders will score. It's an NFC touchdown. That almost looked too easy, and I think thanks goes to the offensive line for making it look easy.
Yeah, I agree with you totally on that one. I'm not sure how much everyone understands the preparations that go into a game for an offensive line, because there's a reason that running backs and quarterbacks give them big gifts at the end of a season after a big year. The consistency and the continuity it takes to know each other and execute their blocks is pretty impressive.
Extra point by Anderson, up and good. And that makes it a 7-3 lead. Following the touchdown, here's Anderson to kick it away. And Hall not going to bring this one out. Now the AFC making their way out, and it's one of Coach's favorites, another local guy, Tom Brady, who will be at the controls. And boy, Coach always admired the way number 12 could run an offense, and especially his ability to stay calm under pressure.
Tom Brady is a guy who's always looking downfield. He never looks at the rush. He hangs in the pocket, and he makes a throw. He's a cool guy. He's a tough guy. Let me tell you, there's no one calmer in the pocket than Tom Brady.
And I know that Coach has a great appreciation for Tom Brady, who turned 45 back on August 3rd, because Coach coached a guy like him in George Blanda, who played a long time in the NFL. In this game, it features legends and active players. Tom Brady qualifies as both.
And the running lane's non-existent in this first half as they'll stop him behind the line. But Charles, you know, it was in the early 1960s that a young Jhon Madden made the acquaintance of the owner of the Oakland Raiders, one Al Davis, of course. And the two, they really bonded, would become one of the best owner-coach duos in NFL history. And to take it a step further, Al Davis became someone who Jhon referred to as his best friend.
Yeah, 1967, Brandon. Al Davis hired Coach Madden to be a linebackers coach. Remember, this was still the AFL at that point. They had not merged totally with the NFL. And Coach Madden, he paid dividends almost immediately. Helped the Raiders win the AFL title in 1968. And that meant a date with the Green Bay Packers in what was now known as Super Bowl II. But by 1969, at the age of 32, just 32, Brandon, Jhon Madden assumed the mantle of head coach of the Oakland Raiders, and what a ride he, the Raiders, in the NFL were about to go on.
It'll be Sanders to begin the drive. And he'll scratch out a yard up to the 30, and that's all. Here's 2nd and 9, just a yard on that last run. Play action. It's Favre. His throw incomplete. 2 minutes remain here in the first half of the Jhon Madden Legacy game. We'll be back. Hey, we want to let you know, give you a fair warning that coming up at halftime, the folks at EA Sports have put together a very nice package in tribute to Coach Madden. So make sure you stick around for that. Again, coming up at halftime. Here's Favre to throw. Throw left side complete. That's Rice. And he slips up past the 45 before being tackled. Off the play fake, here's Favre. And the throw left sideline here is caught, but they'll rule it incomplete. Couldn't keep his feet in. 2nd down. So now 2nd and 10 after the incompletion on 1st down. Now Favre. They'll be caught by Rice. And they'll work this down to the 40-yard line, tackled there. And now it looks like they're going to be in the hurry-up. Now a dump off here complete. And he works it past the 30, almost to the 25. And they go play action with Favre. And that's going to be incomplete. Too tough to hold on to that one. It's 2nd down. Charles, you talked about Jhon Madden and the Raiders going on a ride. Well, try these numbers on for size. In 10 seasons as a head coach, the Raiders won their division 7 times. They finished 2nd the other 3 times. And he became the youngest coach to amass 100 career regular season victories and is still, to this day, the franchise leader in wins.
And when you think about it, that's where that rivalry with Kansas City really took root. As did the expression, commitment to excellence. And boy, was it personified by the players who played for Coach Madden. On offense, how about quarterback Kenny Stable, wide receiver Cliff Branch, wide receiver Fred Biletnikoff, tight end Dave Casper, to name a few. How about those great linemen he had? Center Jim Otto, guard Gene Upshaw, tackle Art Shell, all of them in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And guys on the defensive side of the ball, the Mad Stork himself, Ted Hendricks, Willie Brown, John Matuzak, Otis Sistrunk, and Big Ben Davidson. So many great players, so many great memories.
So they'll come up after the incompletion for 2nd down. Connecting with Kupp here on the out route. And he's got this inside the 10 to the 9 before he's out of bounds. 5 yards. Now it's 3rd and 5. They'll need 5 on this play to move the sticks. Throwing is Favre. Touchdown! Jerry Rice, as the first half is winding down. And the NFC is in for 6. CD for them. This has just been an offensive explosion here in the second quarter.
Yeah, held scoreless in the first quarter. Now they find the end zone again here in the second. Sometimes you just have to have some patience. A lot of people think it's always an adjustment. You have to change what you're doing. Sometimes you just have to do your game plan just a little bit better, and I think that's part of what we're seeing here.
Extra point by Anderson, up and good. And that pushes the lead up to 11. So not much time to speak of remaining in this first half as the kick's away. And not wanting to risk anything here late in the half, he'll just take a knee and they'll bring the football out to the 25. Well, the AFC offense heading back out. You know, Charles, Coach really loved to utilize his tight ends in the passing game. You think about Dave Casper, Hall of Famer for those great Raider teams. And I think he saw a lot of Dave Casper in an all-Madden staple, Tony Gonzalez.
Tony Gonzalez is the type of tight end I think everyone's looking for. He's a guy that can make some big plays from that tight end position. Let me tell you, you better make sure you have him accounted for on every play.
And that's exactly right, because Dave Casper, he could shred defenses down the middle of the field. And that's exactly what Tony Gonzalez did in his entire career. A 14-time Pro Bowl selection. Only Tom Brady has more. There's 6 guys in the 15,000-yard receiving club. He's the only tight end in there. Tony Gonzalez, every snap, you had to know where he was because he could make plays short, medium, and long, and often put the ball in the end zone.
Throwing on 2nd and 14. Brady, he finds his man, complete. It's Gonzalez. Now whistles and a timeout with 3 seconds left in the first half. And unless this is a quick incompletion, this is likely the last play here of this first half. Now Allen. And they'll get him down as he's inside the 40. Coming up in the second half, we'll run through John's post-coaching triumphs. But for now, we present a special tribute to the man of the hour, narrated by the Raiders' own Trey Mosley. The AFC going to get the football first here as we are back underway from Oakland in the Jhon Madden Legacy game. And no fireworks to start the half. This will be a touchback. The AFC offense set to take their next drive. Charles, it'll be interesting to see what adjustments this offense made in the locker room. Haven't really been able to get anything going offensively, virtually nothing in the ground attack either. So certainly something has to change here in quarter 3.
And I'm pretty sure their friends from the defensive side of the ball told them exactly that, because those guys, the stop troops, they've been playing pretty well. They've kept them around in this game. Now they got some time. The running game struggled in the first half. Opposition knows how to focus on defending the pass here. They've got to re-energize that ground game and maybe open things up for a comeback here in this half.
And he's able to get the first before he's taken down at the 36. They're able to convert with a gain of 4. So from the 36 now, 1st and 10. They'll run with Allen. And a 5-yard gain gets him to the 42. So now, Charles, to pick up the story we've been telling, Jhon Madden at 42. He just completed a 10-year stint as the coach of the Raiders. He wants to step away a bit from the grind of coaching, but he doesn't want to step away from the game of football. So he ends up signing on with CBS in 1979 to try his hand at broadcasting. And much like his coaching career, he was pretty much an instant success.
Partner, he really connected with the people right from the start, and people may not remember, he wasn't even on the #1 team in the beginning. He worked his way up. But the same things that made him a great coach made him a great broadcaster. The ability to show the big picture, yet break it down into the details. That's what he did with his teams. That's what he did with the people. That way, he was simple to understand, yet insightful for viewers. And he did with that big personality that he had, one that connected with everyone.
So for Coach Madden, Charles, by 1981, his broadcasting career is really taking off. He's elevated to the network's #1 booth that calls all the big matchups. And he gets the plum assignment of calling Super Bowl 16, 49ers and Bengals, and he's teamed up with Pat Summerall. And that pairing ultimately would go on to be one of the most influential in sports broadcasting history.
Influential not just in us listening to them. Remember, they went on and called 8 Super Bowls together. But how they put together kind of the template that all of us broadcasters follow now. Sitting down with the head coaches and the quarterbacks and the stars of each team before a ball game to get extra information. And the way that those two paired together, Pat Summerall, short, concise, to the point, and turned it over to Coach Madden to fill in all the big details.
Now on 3rd and long, they'll look to throw. The tight end Kelsey has it over the middle. And they will advance this across midfield, but still well shy of a first as he's tackled at the 47. So through 3 quarters of the Jhon Madden legacy game, it's the NFC stars and young Coach Madden on top. And we'll be back to the Coliseum after this. Now Brady got to have this one. Well, that one sailed a bit, but the catch is still made. And he is going to be taken down with a big gainer there on 4th, and the AFC going to keep the drive alive. Now a play fake, Brady. And he's left with no option here but to throw it away. As you mentioned, CD, talking about Jhon Madden, the broadcaster, he called 8 Super Bowls with Pat Summerall, 3 more with Al Michaels later in his career. He spent nearly 3 decades in the booth all told. And not only was he beloved for his mannerisms, we know that, but he was an innovator as well.
Yeah, Brandon, you're talking about things like the telestrator, which totally became identified with him, and now it's a staple for all analysts to have in the booth. And then you think about things like turducken on Thanksgiving, when he used words like boom and pow. He helped create the old Madden team. He was a very popular commercial pitch man. And even the Madden Cruiser was unique, and you had to be someone to get a ride on it, too.
Just not a whole lot of room to operate there on that carry.
No, not at all. They did a really nice job staying in their proper places and not allowing any lanes to open up.
A run right side, it's Bettis. And he will maneuver his way down to about the 7. 3 yards on the pickup. That's going to set up an interesting 3rd and about 4 to go.
Brandon, all things considered, they have to feel pretty good about getting that type of a gain, considering the blitz that they just had against them.
So the AFC with the football as we welcome you back in search of 4 yards here to pick up the first down. Now a carry for Allen. And he is going to lose yardage here. Brady saying let's go as he'll hustle him to the line. Got to try it here. He's back to throw. Pass incomplete, but the flag in the backfield, and this might be a roughing call. But Charles, they're trying to protect this lead late. Those are the types of mistakes they could afford to go without.
About the last thing you want to give them is help in completing a comeback, which is exactly what that penalty does.
In trouble, and he'll go down back at the 12. Clock running here, under 90 seconds to go. On 2nd and goal, Brady, Gates with a grab. This defense has not surrendered a touchdown yet. You better believe they're determined not to here on 3rd and goal. To the end zone, but it's incomplete.
That means it's just one last chance left, and this has to be a first down or a touchdown, or this game's over.
Vinatieri's kick is good. And a 2nd field goal here cuts their deficit to 14-6 now. So you knew one way or another that they needed the 2 scores. They get the easy one out of the way. Now they'll get the ball back, hopefully.
Yeah, and the question is, how do you accomplish that? Do you onside kick it? Or since you have all 3 timeouts, do you kick it deep? To me, I'm playing field position. With all 3 timeouts, I kick it deep and try and pin them back there.
And it is gobbled up by the NFC. A tough one there. They certainly wanted that when they needed it, but they didn't absolutely have to get it. They still do have 3 timeouts.
You're exactly right. They had to attempt it. But even though they didn't get it, as you noted, with 3 timeouts, if they can get these stops on defense, all hope is not lost.
And inside the 20 before he's brought down. Now the AFC going to use the first of their timeouts as they get it with under a minute to go now in the football game. So from inside the 20, here's 1st and 10 at the 18. On the counter now, it's Sanders. Now a second timeout called for by the defense as they get the stoppage with a little over 50 seconds left to go in the game. This, in all probability, another run here on 2nd and 8. That one looks like he'll throw here. And look at this. They get the turnover they needed. It's intercepted. Picked off by Stephon Gilmore. And a big turnover there as his guys will get the football back. A few better down a score in the 4th quarter than Tom Brady. This is 1st and 10. He's back to throw. And they're going to get to him. That is going to be a safety. Tom Brady taken down in the end zone. And that 2 points, you would think, should end any thoughts here of a possible comeback.
Yeah, they had a long field ahead of them anyway, but now 2 scores down, you can just about chalk this one up for lost.
So a free kick situation forthcoming from the 20 as they'll punt this one away. Here's Williams to return. Ready to begin their next drive here, the NFC offense. And this one all over but the shouting, you might say. Now, there's one timeout remaining defensively, but probably no real need to use it here.
Yeah, the only time they would use it, strictly for pride.
The run only got a yard. Here's 2nd and 9. Another run with Sanders. And down right around the 32-yard line, 4 yards on the pickup. Well, this has certainly been special. And, Charles, as we wind down toward the end of this Jhon Madden legacy game, your final thoughts?
Well, let's face it, partner, it's going to be hard to overestimate the impact that he made, not just on the sport of football, but on his family, friends, players, co-workers, and in the lives of millions of Americans.
So it's a win here for the NFC. Just an incredible afternoon of football and remembering the life of Jhon Madden. And before we go, one final message. And for all of us at EA Sports, this one's for you, Coach.
I just say this, I thank you all very much. This has been the sweetest ride of them all.